So hello everyone, as I promised I'm gonna try to make a video about my mushroom trip. Um, I'm kind of not used to making videos on the internet, so I apologize in advance if I get, because I'm trying to make an uncut video because I don't want to overthink too much about um, what I'm saying. So I really hope it's not too hard to follow and that it's, good to hear, or let's just hope so. So, okay, my best friends decides to bring me shrooms from Amsterdam. I'm gonna show you what type of shrooms it was. So it was this. So they are, I think, what I call truffles, psilocybin truffles. Visual effect, max. No. So my best friend, is really someone that I trust a lot, and we know everything about each other. So, and he has a really small apartment. So I really felt like I was, how do you say it? By mirror. I really felt like I was safe at his place, and I think that's something that's really important. To feel safe, a place that you feel safe at with someone that you really trust. I think that's the most important, and the setting, yeah. So when we took them, it has hit after I think 30 minutes. And the first thing you see is that things start to get really, really sharper. I don't know what that means, but things get so fucking sharp. Like, for example, I don't have a good vision. Like, I can't see from far away, right? And when I got my glasses for the first time, I remember I was like 12, and I was amazed. It's kind of like I saw the world in a different way. Like, wow, I couldn't read that before, and I couldn't see that before. And when you take shrooms and you're in a room, right? And so the first thing you notice is that your thoughts start to get funny, right? Kind of like they get kind of distorted, and they start to go like in funny places, and you're like, haha, okay, weird. And okay, and then that happens, and then at some point, just bam, you start to see things in sharper ways, if that makes sense. You start to see things really like in a different vision. So it doesn't look like a new world yet, but it does feel slightly different. Like, why is everything so sharp? It's almost aggressive, not in a bad way, but it's almost aggressive. You know how sharp things become, like the edges of the door or whatever it is. And then the second step for me was I would look at a wall. I mean, um, wait, this part. Yeah, the camera is like flipped, so I don't know. But you know that part where the wall meets. I don't know how's that called because my English is not my first language. But I stare at it and I see that it's wavy. Like, I start to see waves, and I'm like, okay, so uh, physical reality doesn't seem that concrete anymore, that much. I mean, I'm still in this room with my friend, and we're still surrounded by walls and stuff, but it seems like reality is slowly not collapsing, but getting. It's kind of like you start to see that physical reality is not that physical, if that makes sense. So that's already a really important point, I think. Um, but me and my friend, we were feeling kind of adventurous. So we went outside just to see how it felt like. Because it's my second mushroom trip. On the first one, we really stayed in for the entire trip. But this time, we're like, okay, let's just see how the city looks like, how it feels like. And so I go out, and it feels like I'm in this futuristic movie because, it's kind of like I live in Paris, and I mean, I was born in Paris. I was born and raised, whatever. And to see my city in a completely different way was refreshing and interesting. But it's kind of like I was in the future, even though I wasn't. because we don't realize how modern our societies are. And so for me to see, like all of this ground made by humans and then to see trees like planted in the middle, it felt so weird for some reason. It doesn't, in my everyday life, but in this trip, I really did feel like it was weird, to see these trees planted everywhere, kind of like it was ridiculous to try to integrate nature in such a modern city. I mean, it's a good intention, but it's kind of like nature was a decoration when it's meant to be everything in the first place. So that was my first nature oriented thought. And so yeah, just we were walking and we wanted to go like there is a place where there's like a river. Why didn't I should have put my phone on silent? I'm sorry. Shut up. Yeah, don't interrupt me. So yeah, we wanted to go to this river, but there were like some creepy people, so we're like, no, 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 let's not step into a bad trip. Come on, let's just explore something better. And so we decided to let go the river, and we sat on a bench on some sort of an alley that was there were lots of lights on that alley. It didn't feel creepy at all. So we sat on the bench, and first, for anyone that has tried shrooms, you know that you feel a sense of like you understand everything. Like everything you see, you feel like has a deeper meaning, and you feel like you deeply understand it. For example, there was a statue where next to where we were sitting, and it felt like it was supposed to be a warrior, I think. And I mean, I don't know, I don't have the English word for what he was, but um, I really felt like I understood his struggles and emotions, and you know the entire point of the statue. Even though when I would used to walk there every day, I wouldn't notice it. So yeah, but that was just the start. That was just the start of a 12-hour trip because we took other shrooms after. But I'll just focus on the first Dragon Dynamite shrooms. So we sit on a bench, and I look at the floor, and I see that there are how do you say it? Patterns, geometrical patterns on the floor moving. And I was so happy to witness that. I was like, okay, wow, this is mental. Like this is insanely beautiful and magnificent, and I can't believe just because of shrooms I ate, you know, I'm able to witness that. Like, why am I able to witness such magnificent, almost, godly geometry? I mean, what does this mean? Like, why? It's kind of like, it kind of tells you that the shroom really it connects you to an intelligence, because it's so precise and beautiful. It's just insane. Um, so then, as I was looking at these patterns, I got interrupted by a little insect that was walking on the floor. And so I was like, oh, look, an insect. No, no, no. And I didn't care that much in the beginning. But then as I got closer, I saw that, okay, so I'm going to try to explain the best I can because I don't have all of my English vocabulary. But you see the floor? There were like small things like that. I mean, it was traced like this. So this for the insect was a path. For me, it didn't look like something that was much big, but for him, it was a path, a large path. So I follow him on his path, and I see how insanely huge this looks like for him. Like, that floor was kind of like how do you say, I have the word. Like a territory that wasn't touched by anything. Like, everything seemed empty for him, and he seemed to be like stressing out and trying to find his way. And I almost felt like I could feel his emotions. I almost felt I did feel that. I don't know why I say I almost, but I did feel that. It just sounds ridiculous, but I did. And um, I was following him with my eyes, and at some point, I really had the vision he was having. You know what I mean? Like, I really saw things at the scale he was seeing them. And that felt insane because it was like stepping in a totally different world. Even though we were in our world, I was still like next to the bench, we're still in the city, but that was another world. For him, it's another world. You know, his perception is completely different. And for me to experience that, I was so happy because ever since I was a child, when a cat would look at me, because I'm obsessed with cats, when a cat would look at me, I would always think like, I wonder how he sees me. Like, I wonder how he perceives me. I wonder how I look like to him. It must be so different from what I see right now. It must be so different. So for me to experience that, I was like, it is indeed really different the way they see things. And so that insect was walking and he came back. He was looking for a tree actually. So I follow him and I look at, he's just going through the tree. And around the tree there was like a circle of like um, stones and stuff, you know. And so I could see many other insects. And the insect that I was following, he just entered in between the stones and he just laid like that. And it felt like he went to sleep. And it's so weird to like witness that. It really felt like there was like that these insects were actually really intelligent, that they were governed by nature, that it kind of like the tree was their god, and they had this amazing village, and everyone had a role. Everyone had a really precise role. Everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone knows, you know. And I couldn't believe that you know, such small insects were able to be that smart. I mean, I heard it from documentaries, you know, that ants are really organized and blah blah blah, but to really feel it as an experience for myself was really powerful because I was like, everything is meaningful. Even that insect has a life. I mean, it's things that we know, but I really felt like I lived it and I understood it, and it was really it changed my perception on how this world is not just what we see, really not just what we see, and that there are so many things that are around us that we do not look at even when they could teach us things. So what else? My hair is too much. um so after my friend is like, okay, you know, let's go home now, and as I went back to my scale of seeing things, I felt a sort of sadness for that, because for me it's kind of like I discovered a really mysterious, intelligent, uh in you know, intelligent in a way that words can't explain, another universe without our world, without that city. It's kind of like I found this, almost I had almost this magical experience, and then I can't come back and I see like the human world and how careless they are about what I just witnessed. And I see like two guys walking out and they were drunk and they just threw a bottle on the floor and they don't care. And I'm like, humans are so stupid. I mean, not, you know what I mean? I don't mean any offense, but I was like, fuck. I mean, how can they not see that? But then I told myself, but even I don't see that, so I can't even blame anyone. But how is it that there's such magical things and then we're just here like, it just felt the contrast, you know, between the scale that I was at and then coming back to reality reality or a scale. was I just felt sad for the tree at that moment. I felt sad for that because it was so underrated in a way, if that makes sense. I really hope it makes sense because it made sense so much in my trip, but then it's so hard to transcribe with words such deep experiences. So we go home, right? And we go home, and I know like on the window there was like a spider, and it looked so magnificent. I don't know, I think I had a little obsession on the beginning of my trip on insects and how brilliant and smart and they are, and how underrated. I mean, underrated. Not for everyone, I know, but you know, how much we don't take notice of that sometimes. And then, so that was the first important part of my trip, I think. And the thing that I didn't want to forget about it was nothing, everything is meaningful. Everything has a purpose. Every little thing has a purpose. That was really the thing that I did not want to forget about the entire insect thing. So then the second important part of my trip was, I really hope you're following. I know this is going to be a long video, but yeah. So I, um, I'm sorry I get this blank moments, but I was wearing a sort of a combo, right? I don't know if you know what that means. I don't know if it's the right word, but you know, I had to unbutton everything in order to go to the bathroom, right? And so I started, when I went to the bathroom, first of all, it was the first time I was by myself with the trip. So I felt like my soul started to expand and the scale changed again. I wasn't just me in this body, I was something way bigger. And I started to close my eyes and I felt that I wasn't, you know, that I was much bigger than my body. It just felt like my soul was taking over all of that space. And as I started unbuttoning myself, I could literally feel the signals in my brain sending how do you say it? I could feel the signals in my brain sending to my fingers and arms, unbutton this. And it felt like all of these cells were everything in my body, my brain, my cells, my body, everything was working together in order to make it happen. And I was blown away because I could really feel the intelligence in my body. I didn't feel this small anymore. I felt like this, that the intelligence of our bodies is just something that's insane. And I won't repeat it enough. It's insane, literally insane. And we don't realize it because we take all of this for granted sometimes. I mean, depends for who, but you know what I'm trying to say here. And so it's just, it was just incredible. I don't know why I had this vision of kind of like the Titanic, or you know, like a very big boat. I mean by Titanic, that you know every floor communicates with all the other floors, so they make everything happen, from the food to how it's navigated, from everything needs to be communicating in order to make that boat, you know, work properly. And that's what I felt was happening in my body, as if there were different floors and they were all communicating the fastest way they could in order for me to get my needs met. And at that moment I was like, I can't take my body for granted. I can't this is so intelligent. I can't believe how much we do not take care of ourselves. I cannot believe it. I can't believe how we forget that. How we forget that these are millions of cells that have existed since the beginning of time, and that they're here to help us do whatever the F we want with our bodies, but we don't see it. And it has hit me so hard then. I was just embodying my stuff and I was like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It was just insane. And at that very moment, when I sat on my throne, I really felt like, so I finished my business, whatever, bathroom. And then I just sat there and I closed my eyes and I really felt like I connected to my higher self. And that was the most powerful moment of my entire life. Because I felt like really I connected to my higher self and to something that's very specific of me and to something that I remember. I don't know from where I remember it from, but I felt like I could remember who I was before I came down. It was so bizarre. I felt like I was this extremely playful person that loved to be sensual at times, that was just really, I was so overly confident and I felt so in my power at that moment. And then I remember, because I always unconsciously do this with my hair, but at that moment it was so glorious because as I would do that, it's kind of like everything felt in slow motion as if in a movie, and I could really perceive it in a slow motion, and I could really feel every little expression of my face as if there was like a 360 degrees camera that was turning as I was like doing every move, and I could like experience my beauty in all the ways possible. And then I started to think about all the times where I felt unworthy, where I felt stupid, where I felt like I didn't belong, where I felt mocked by other people, these times I suffered. And I started to laugh history as if my higher self was making fun of that. Not in a mean way, but more like, I can't believe that I came down to earth and felt that way because it's so far from the truth. And I can't believe all of my fellow human friends and people all actually feel the same. What the fuck happened? It's so funny. It's so further from the truth. It's almost as if I died and then I was looking back at all the times where I felt powerless and that I was like, that it was nothing. That these times were nothing, you know? It was so, so, so weird. I mean, I can't really. My makeup gets stuck in my eyes. Sorry. But it was just really. I felt so, so, so powerful. I can't start to explain it. And as I. So, what was next? I was talking about this camera, experiencing my beauty. Yeah, it's almost as if I died. And then I could like look at all these moments where I felt power. Yeah, I said that already. But it really felt funny. It really felt like I was a goddess somewhere in the sky and that I was looking down at what my human projection was experiencing. And I was like, quite fun. I mean, how powerless can you make yourself when it's not even true? Like, it has really hit me. And but deep down there was this conscious part of me that was like, I wish I could hold that power forever, but I know it won't be possible when I come back. And then I came out and I wanted to look at myself in the mirror. And as I look at myself in the mirror, at first I saw all of my insecurities like spots and everything. And by connecting the experience that I had in the bathroom, I told myself, well, I cannot believe how much I neglect myself, how much we all neglect ourselves. I was looking at my teeth, this teeth, because it's a fake one. Because one time, the first time I got really drunk, I fell, and I don't remember anything, but I just know that I fell and half of this teeth was missing. So I was staring in the mirror at that teeth, and I was like, I can't believe I disrespected myself that way. I can't believe that we as human beings, we don't see how intelligent our bodies are. We kind of take them for granted. We neglect them, and we sometimes hurt that body. And I just felt this frustration, and I saw myself in an ugly way, but then it switched to a beautiful way. And then I started to see the things that I love the most. It's kind of like your face morphs to the ugliest you see yourself and then the best you see yourself. So it's a powerful experience in itself. And then when I saw myself, and I don't know, for random, but I was looking at my lips and I was like, they're so beautiful. But that was the first time I actually really genuinely loved so much something about myself. So it was really empowering because I mean, it's kind of like I really witnessed for the first time the magnificence of us as human beings, and it felt really powerful. And so this is already 26 minutes long, which is a lot. um, and I don't know if people are gonna listen to it all. So um, if some people, even if one person is interested, I will talk about the rest of it, because it's so long. So you just tell me if you're interested in knowing more or not, and I will record the rest. But this is like an essay thing, so I will record a part 2 if anyone is interested. So if you listen to the entire 27 minutes now, thank you so much. I send so much love. Love you.